a dramatic sight in windward Oahu as that large military jet experienced problems and then landed in Kaneohe Bay.
Yeah, it is still there this morning as aviation and military officials continue an investigation into exactly what happened. Our Casey Lunn is live this morning, tracking the latest developments. And Casey, how close are they to removing this from the water?
You know, it's hard to say. We are reaching out to the Marine Corps Base Hawaii folks as well as other military leaders to get an idea of where they're at with that process. But of course, they haven't really gotten very far in that investigation, mostly worrying about cleaning up any hazardous materials that might be there. Of course, the 9 people that were aboard that Navy P-8 Poseidon were unhurt, and that's the good news in all this. But there are people that have some environmental concerns, of course. We'll get to that in just a moment. First, though, that's all happened just before 2 p.m. yesterday afternoon when that plane was not able to stop on the runway. We had our crews head up here as quickly as they could. They were able to talk to some of the first people to see that jet in the bay.
I got off at school at like 2 o'clock, and then I was at my house at like 2:30, and I heard a bunch of sirens. So I went outside and I looked, and I saw like 4 fire trucks pass the house and an ambulance. And then like 10 minutes later, I got a text from my dad saying that like apparently a plane crashed. So we came out here to look at it. And it's definitely a sight to see. It's the first time I've ever seen something crash in the bay before. It's crazy to me. It landed right on a reef. It's just sitting there.
Yeah, this satellite image shows you how shallow that water is, why that plane is still sitting on the reef. That $100 million jet is still in the water. Still, environmental washtub groups and residents alike know it's an area with coral and rocks. They're worried about the damage to the reef and the water. The Navy did, though, the military did deploy booms, those chemical absorbent socks designed to surround high concentration chemicals. Still, a lot of folks, including residents here on the windward side, are concerned. Take a listen.
I think somebody needs to take a look at the impacts the plane is doing to our coral reefs and our marine life, right? You know, there's jet fuel, engine fuel, antifreeze, and other toxins that might be spilling out into the bay. We don't know. So if so, the state should be able to assess the situation and make the Navy or have the Navy be accountable for any cleanup.
The military hasn't spoken on how the incident occurred, whether or not it was pilot error or a mechanical issue with the plane. Of course, the conditions weren't ideal here. We also don't know how much fuel or other harmful chemicals may have been on board at the time. We are working to get those details. That Boeing P-8 Poseidon is used for submarine detection, reconnaissance, surveillance, those kinds of things. And again, those 9 people that were uninjured are part of a crew based out of Washington State. So there's still a lot to learn here, but that is going to be a big task trying to get that plane out of the water. We'll keep following this story as it develops. For now, we'll send things back into the studio with Steve and Grace.
All right. Thanks, Casey.